significance. When we take a look at the Aroon indicator on the chart, it's relatively simple to look at, so it makes it a lot easier to analyze than some of the other more busy indicators out there. It's just two lines that seem to cross back and forth over each other, changing from an extreme of 100 to 0 on the bottom of a graph. Now, what these lines are doing is they're displaying a 14-period measurement, giving us an idea of when the last high and low was in relation to each other. So, with the blue line, we have an AroonUp line. Now the colors are going to be specific to whatever platform you're using and to whatever you set them to yourself. In this case, the blue line does represent my AroonUp line, but the orange line is going to represent my AroonDown line. And these little white circles are going to represent my poor attempt to draw a circle. And what we have here is, once again, a visual display of how long it's been since the market has set a new high or a new low. So this gives us an idea by looking at this section alone whether the market is trending strongly or whether it is not trending strongly, or perhaps whether it's changing hands when these lines are crossing. As we mentioned, the Aroon is measuring how long it's been since the last high or low for the current period being analyzed. The up and down values are expressed in percentages like we discussed, where it's going to range from 100 at the top end to 0 at the bottom end. So as the AroonUp line works its way to the top end, that would be a strong bullish indication, especially when it's coupled with the AroonDown line being down near the 0%. So our strongest bullish scenario is going to be when we have an AroonUp line near 100% and we have an AroonDown line at the same time down near 0%. That indicates strong bullish momentum without much bearish momentum, more or less. If we were to inverse this scenario and we wanted to look at a strong bearish trend, well then we would want the AroonUp line to be down near 0%, while the AroonDown line is then up near 100%. The equation for how these lines are calculated is relatively simple and has been laid out here for you guys. So for the AroonUp line, it's going to be equal to parentheses 20 minus the number of days since the 20-day high, representing the period being analyzed. So this is a lot of words that makes the equation look a lot harder than it is, but really this whole thing is just one thing, and you'll see here when we give you an example in just a moment. And then after this, it is going to be 100 divided by 20, as you can see here on the end. The AroonDown line is going to be 20 minus the number of days since the 20-day low instead of the high like we had up here. And then we're going to do the same thing at the end where we have 100, we're going to multiply by 100 over 20. Now, if we wanted to calculate the AroonUp value for today, and we were analyzing the last 20 days, we need to determine the time when price was the highest. If that was 2 days ago, for example, then our equation would look like this. We would have AroonUp, and it would then be the 20 minus 2, because it had been 2 days ago, and that would be the end of the parentheses, and we don't need to worry about any more of this, and we would just accelerate ourselves to the end, where outside the parentheses we have 100 over 20. So relatively simple. So it is not the most difficult math in the world, but once again, it is a beautiful thing because the indicator is going to be doing this for us. This is just to understand where it's coming from.
While using the Aroon indicator, it is important to follow those levels and whether they cross thresholds so you can spot trends better. You can't really use it on its own, as it works best in conjunction with other indicators, but since trends are a huge part of a trading strategy, it is a great tool to have at your disposal. Have you used the Aroon indicator? If so, what results did you have? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you in our next video.